Good afternoon, ladies and gents. I'm updating from my bed. I can honestly say the last few days have been like the scariest days ever, which is why it's been a little bit quiet. And I'm not actually going to be putting this up for a little while, but it's just a bit of an explanation, really. We went in on Friday for like a routine scan just to make sure that baby was still breech before they put me in for a cesarean at 39 weeks. And found out at the scan that there was like practically no fluid around him, which was mentioned at my 34-week scan as well, but then the guy miraculously just found some fluid and put down that it was okay. And I don't really like that guy anyway. He's been a bit of a knob the last few times I've had a scan. But when I went in on Friday, was it Friday or Thursday? One of the 2 days, I can't remember. The lady said that she couldn't find any pockets of fluid, and the dark patches that she was seeing, when you looked into it further, there was actually just cord in there. And I'm supposed to have a minimum of 5.5 centimetres of fluid, and there's 1.6 centimetres. So I had to go and be observed and see a consultant, and they told me, and I had to have steroids as well, because chances are now that baby's going to be delivered a lot earlier. So I had a steroid injection that day and saw a consultant, was being monitored, and then I was told to go home that night and come back the next day for steroids, again 24 hours later. But I got home that night and I just wasn't happy. I really freaked out about everything because I don't really feel his movements anyway, because I've got an anterior placenta and his breech and his extended breech, so his legs are up by his face, and he's facing my placenta, which means that when he does kick, it kicks my placenta. So I genuinely don't feel his movements. I can feel most of the time like a head like pushing up against my stomach, and that is it. And I was home alone that night as well, because we were supposed to be looking after a friend's house, so that's where Ryan was staying, and I was just in bits, to be fair. So I phoned up the hospital and took myself up there, and they offered to let me stay over the night and keep monitoring me. Everything was coming back on the monitors. It was normal, but I just wasn't feeling anything, which is just terrible. Like, it's awful. I'm being told that I need to keep an eye closely on his movements when it's almost impossible, because I can't feel them. So I'm pretty much being told that my baby's life is in my hands, and I've got to make sure that he's not distressed, but I don't know when that is. So anyway, I stayed like the night, Saturday night. Got back the next day. Had to stay in until at least 5 o'clock the next day to have my second lot of steroids and some more monitoring. I saw another consultant who actually consulted me on a couple of my miscarriages, so it was quite nice to see him. And he said that like the baby looks absolutely fine. There's no, like, he had a full bladder, which means his digestive system is working well. His kidneys, liver, heart all look fine. His brain looks fine. They said that his presentation in there looks great. If there was any damage from the lack of fluid, then they'd expect him to be a little bit limp, but he looks really good. And he's moving as he should, but I just can't feel it. So they told me to go home and spend today in bed and just keep an eye on his movements. So I think I must have got home about 6:30 last night. Had something to eat because I hadn't really eaten anything in hospital. And the food wasn't that bad, actually, surprisingly. But I didn't really eat much in hospital just because I wasn't feeling up for it. Got into bed and I was just a complete mess all night. I think I felt him move at 11 o'clock once, and then at 2 o'clock once, and then at 4-ish, I can't really remember, I felt like a little head wobble. And then I was up at 6, so I would probably say that like properly up and awake about 6 o'clock, and I didn't feel him then until 9:30. And even then it was just like a little movement, and I don't know whether that's normal for me, and because I've never really thought about the fact that he doesn't move so dramatically is unnormal, because I've told my midwife loads and she just said that's just what it's like for me. So because I was laying there obsessing about it, I just freaked out and I phoned the hospital and I went back up there this morning for more monitoring. Took a while to get him to move because apparently he was asleep. But he did move and they said that he was, doing everything he should do. But yet again, I couldn't feel it. I think I was on the monitor for like 45 minutes and I felt him move 3 times. And that was like very slight. And that was only because I was laying there watching my stomach as well. I could see my stomach move, but I couldn't feel it. So I put that down, that I'd fetal movements felt, even though I told them that it was only because I'd seen my stomach move, not necessarily felt it. And I did really want to talk to them about like how anxious I'm being, but I kind of just felt like a bit brushed off. Like I kept saying to her, like, you're telling me to monitor his movements closely, but I can't. And all she kept saying was, oh well, but he is moving. And yeah, like you can tell that being stuck on the machine, but I don't know that he's moving. But she said like to go back up if I feel worried again tonight. But it is a really long drive from our house, and Ryan, now because the baby's going to be coming so much sooner than we anticipated, is rushing to get all of his work done because he thought he had another 4 weeks ready to do everything. So he's understandably, there's no point in him sitting up there with me while I'm getting monitored. He would be there if I phoned him and told him that I needed to get there now, but he might as well go get everything done, because otherwise when baby's here he's going to be working and I would rather him be here. So tomorrow I've got a scan at 2:10 with the consultant, and then a consultant appointment, and that's when we're going to discuss when we're going to get him out. He's had steroids, and they said that they would like it to be between 37 and 39 weeks. And the consultant said that he would ideally like to push for 38 weeks, no later, which is 10 days' time. That he will go on how like anxious I'm feeling. I didn't want to cry on this, but I'm kind of hoping that they'll tell me that we can have a section at 37 weeks, which is Wednesday, because he's full term on at 37 weeks. They said that the most that would be an issue with him would be a little bit of jaundice. He's had his steroid injections, because quite honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to last another 10 days. Just constantly worrying. Like after 2.5 years of everything and then 6 losses before him, I don't like the thought of me being so like in charge of making sure he's okay when I can't feel if he's okay. If my movements were strong, then I wouldn't mind, because I would just sit here all day if I had to, watching TV with the Kick account app open and checking it, but I can't feel him. So I'm being told that I need to monitor him and make sure that his movements aren't any different, but I don't know if they are. So when I spoke to him yesterday, he did say that like he would also base a decision on like my anxiety around it. So I'm kind of hoping that we'll go in there and I can just say to him, like, I would be so much happier if he was out on Wednesday. I know he would be fine. It would mean a few more days in hospital, but I honestly don't give a fuck. And then that way it's not, and this is going to sound really selfish, but that way it's not just down to me. I feel like there's such a big responsibility. At least when he's out, like, we'd be in hospital for a couple of days, and then we'll get back and I'll be able to see him. And Ryan will be here as well, and it's not just all on my shoulders. I think it's really difficult when you've lost so many babies, and every time you feel like it's your body that's lost them. And now I'm just so scared that it's going to happen again. Which I know is stupid, because he's absolutely fine. Like, he's obviously fine because all the monitoring is telling me that. And he would be absolutely fine if he came out now, because I'm 36 weeks and 4 days now. Like, he would be, an extra couple of days in hospital, but he would survive. He would be perfect. And I think that's what's really difficult. Like, I know the best place for him is to stay in there a little bit longer, but I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel comfortable that it's all on me. I've had literally no faith in my body whatsoever for the last 2.5, 3 years anyway. Well, coming up to 3 years now, because it was near our wedding day. I've had no faith in my body for nearly 3 years now, and I've been a fucking anxious mess the entire time I've been pregnant. But I've actually had a really good pregnancy. Like, apart from a bit of SPD, I didn't really have any sickness. I didn't have, I was fucking tired the first few weeks, but who isn't? I'd say the last 4 weeks have been the hardest, just with, like, walking around and stuff. But I've actually had a really good pregnancy. And I guess I just feel like I knew it was too good to be true. I just want to make sure that he's okay. I just want him here now. But I'm not going to put any of this up until he's born, because we've kept this to ourselves. Literally close family, like parents and my grandparents know, because I don't know what's going on yet, and explaining this to like a whole load of people, it's really hard. I mean, tomorrow we'll know more, because they'll book me in for a clinic appointment to have my section tomorrow. I just don't know when it's going to be, so I mean, I'd probably be a bit happier telling a few more people tomorrow when I know, but quite honestly, I think I might just wait until he's here. I'm hoping it's going to be between like 3 and 10 days. I don't know if I'm going to be able to last another 10 days. I'm worrying about him. I'm hoping that they'll just do it as soon as possible. Sorry, I really tried not to cry. All I've done is fucking cry since Friday. But anyway, yeah, so I'll put this up after he's here. We haven't actually posted anything for like 2 weeks, because, like I said, I went away to Southampton and Essex for my baby showers, and then then I got really ill, got like the worst cold, which I've still got as well. Like, it just hit me at one of my baby showers, and then we went to Ryan's sister's baby shower, and I felt awful, because I didn't want to get involved too much and make people ill, and also I just felt so bad, like, when like a cold comes on in like a second, and then it's like major flu. Like, my head was horrible, I had like the worst throat ever. Oh, it was awful. I felt really awful then for not joining in with that. And then we got back and we went away for my birthday, literally like 2 days later. I was still poorly in that time as well. I went away for my birthday for a couple of nights, and then all this has happened, so you just have to bear with us a little bit. We're going to keep doing stuff. It's just been a bit of a crazy couple of weeks, and I think it's only going to get crazier. Anyway, sorry, I've got really bad heartburn again. Thank you for listening. Sorry for being a emotional mess. I might update you all after I'll do another video after my consultant appointment tomorrow at some point, and then let you know what's going on, and I'll just stitch it onto the end of this one, and then we'll put this up when he's here and we know he's okay. And then after that, after we've got back to it for a couple of days, got used to the fact there's a baby here, hopefully, and we'll start talking about the other stuff that we were going to. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Good morning, everyone. So I said I would update yesterday after our consultant appointment, but we went to it, and then we
got home for like an hour, then went out for dinner with my nan and granddad, and then went to Asda to get some bits of that. So it was actually really late by the time I got home last night, so I'm just going to do it today. Today is the second. And it's mine and Ryan's wedding anniversary today, our third wedding anniversary. So we went to our consultant appointment yesterday and had the scan. The scan showed that there was probably a little less fluid. He said that there was a pocket there that could have been 2.5 centimetres, but he couldn't tell whether it was 2.5 centimetres all the way around or just like this way or this way, so he wasn't going to put it in at all because it would give false readings. He then said that really baby will be making a entrance before 39 weeks. They wouldn't do it before 37 weeks just because of his lungs. And I'm 36 and 6 today, so I'm 37 weeks tomorrow. So, I mean, it didn't take much persuading, really. I asked him if we could just have him out sooner rather than later, just because of the lack of movements that I'm feeling. Although last night I started feeling them a little bit more, and I don't know if that's just because I've relaxed a little bit and I'm not overthinking it now. And he's currently tucking his head up inside my ribs, so I can feel that. But anyway, so the consultant was more than happy to book a caesarean section for Thursday. So it turns out that we are going to be having a baby on Thursday. I'm currently first on the list, so we've got to be in there for 8 a.m. Obviously, if any emergencies happen, they take precedence, which is understandable and fine. But they're aiming to have me in theatre between, I think they said like 9 and 10, like half 9 and 10, I think they said. And they said that from my point of view, really, I would only need to be in hospital for a day. Baby depends on his lungs, depends on jaundice, but he's a good weight. He was weighing roughly, at the last scan we had on Friday, £5 12 ounces. So we're kind of hoping for a £6 at least. But I mean, if he's a little bit smaller than that, they're not worried, because otherwise they wouldn't have got him out. They wouldn't have said they would take him out. So it really depends on baby, really, how long we're going to be in there for. But knowing that he's going to be here in like 2 days is just insane. Well, actually, and I'm not even classing it as that. Well, I don't know, I am really. I mean, I got today, I'm on strict bed rest, so I've just literally got to like lay here and monitor movements and then phone them if I'm unhappy about anything. And then tomorrow is like the last day, and then Thursday morning we've got to leave here at, I'm going to say like 6 o'clock in the morning, because I've got to be up and have like all these drinks and tablets before 6 o'clock anyway. And then we've got to get to Truro and rush hour on to Truro in the morning. It's just a nightmare. So we said we're going to leave here about 6, and even if we get there a little bit early, then we're there early, aren't we? It's not the end of the world. And we're told to go straight to delivery suite. I've had my pre-op done. I've signed all the paperwork. I've done my MRSA swabs. So I think we're all set now, really. We put the car seat in the car yesterday. I went and bought like snacks for the hospital, because after, and for Ryan, because he doesn't do well about snacks. I think we're set. It's slightly terrifying. Yesterday I just kept like freaking out a little bit that we are having a baby on Friday after all this time, like after literally everything, nearly 3 years of trying for a baby and losing so many. And I still find it really hard to believe that actually, like, on Thursday, possibly by this time, because it's now 11:30. Obviously, if emergencies happen, then emergencies happen. But I could have my baby here, which is just crazy. So I'm going to like put this on the end of the other video I did, and then what I will do is I will do a little update when he's here, show off his name as well, and then we'll put it up when we've told everybody, and then it will just kind of let you guys know what's been going on with us as well, because obviously we've been very quiet like I explained before, that we'd been away, and I was really poorly, and then I had my birthday, and then as soon as I got back, all this started happening. So it's been a quiet couple of weeks. I'm still a little bit poorly as well, but that's what bed rest is for, eh? So yeah, we'll keep you guys updated. In the next video I do, I should have a baby here.
Hi guys.
So I said I would update you all when everything had happened, and I'd had my cesarean. So I have had my cesarean, and this is my son. This is Phoenix Alexander Ward. He was born on the 4th of October at 10:32 a.m. via cesarean. I also have a video of the cesarean. Ryan managed to film it, and I will put that on here as well. He weighs 5 pounds, 5 ounces and 1/4, which is just tiny. Like, I've never held a baby so small. Actually, that's a lie. Ryan's nephew was exactly the same weight, and I remember holding him and thinking he just wasn't real. And to be fair, I feel the same right now. I just cannot believe that we have a baby, and he is this incredible. So all of the videos that I've done, me in tears, I mean, obviously they were justified because I was so worried about him, but you know, just he's here and he's safe, and now it's my job to keep him alive. And Ryan's been amazing, so good. He's really picked it up. Like, he did the first nappy, not the first meconium nappy. I did that one, but he did do the rest of the meconium nappies that turned up after in quick succession. But he did the first wet nappy. He dressed him for the first time. He's been doing skin to skin with him. I was just in here expressing, because I've had an issue with breastfeeding and him latching, because he's a sleepy, tiny baby and my boob is 3 times the size of his head. So I've been expressing and like syringe feeding. But anyway, so I was like laying in here, and Ryan had taken Phoenix into Phoenix's bedroom, so it's a bit warmer in there, just to change his nappy, and I hear Ryan shout about him, not shout, but like laugh, and Phoenix had pissed all up his arm, which is amazing. When he was 3 minutes old, he pissed in the midwife's face, like literally like right here. So I'm laying on the bed getting stitched up, and I look over and there's just a midwife like just wiping my son's piss out of her face, and it was probably one of the best moments ever. Obviously, like, you know, second to actually being shown him for the first time. So yeah, he's absolutely tiny, but he has giant feet. Oh, did I wake you up? Sorry, mate. I'm touching his foot. He's not a massive fan of that. Let me show you. Try not to flash boob. But look at the size of his feet. I can't really show you without getting a nipple in it. But they are huge. They're like little flippers. So yeah, I just wanted to show him off, really. Tell you guys that everything has been fine. Like, the NHS is just an amazing thing. All the doctors have been incredible. And they got him here safely at the right time. We stayed an extra night in hospital just to make sure he was okay, because they were concerned that he had a little bit of a grunt, which could be fluid on the lungs, but he's just a grunty baby, apparently, because he's stopped doing that now. He was just whinging. I think that might have something to do with the fact he wasn't getting enough food whilst breastfeeding before expressing and syringe feeding. So yeah, we stayed an extra night, so we got home today, and I'm literally like over the moon. Totally got the day 3 hormones in there, and I keep crying over everything. So yeah, this is the reason why we've been a bit quiet for the last couple of weeks. I'm gonna, obviously now, not going out during the day, just staying home and healing. So I'm gonna stitch all of the videos together, and then I'll upload it, and you guys can see where I've been. Okay. I will speak to you all soon. Bye.
Please keep your arm in.
It's definitely a big.
That is your little favourite. Can you see that?
Oh my god, it's tiny.
There he goes. Eyes wide open.
Yeah.